Hello lovely student. Welcome to my lesson on strings, and today I'm going to be presenting the solution to the coding challenge. So you had to answer 3 questions on the challenge. Let's look at question 1.1. You were required to enter using a T-edit or an edit box the name of the owner, the name of the restaurant, and the year the restaurant was open. And using the information, you had to determine or work out or generate an identification code. So let's see how you went about doing that. Okay, so I created 3 variables, one for the name of the restaurant, S restaurant, one for the name of the owner, S owner, and to derive the code, I created a variable called S code. For the year, I created an integer variable, I year. I got 3 values using an edit box, one for the name of the restaurant, one for the name of the owner, and one for the year. But remember, the year, I had to convert it from string to int. Then, to get the first character, the identification code was made up of the first character of the name of the restaurant, the last 2 characters of the owner's name, and the year. So to get the first character of the name of the restaurant, a string starts off at index 1. So using square brackets, if I just had to write index 1, it would give me the first character. If you used copy and you said copy from S restaurant, start at position 1 and take 1 character, that will also give you the first character. So let me just write that for you. Copy, you could use copy from S restaurant, copy from S restaurant, start at position 1 and only copy 1 character. Remember, the last parameter is how many characters. So if you used copy or you used S restaurant at index 1, both those would have given you the first character. Then I needed to get the last 2 characters of the owner's name. So I'm copying from S owner, start at the length of S owner. Remember, the length of S owner will give you the last character. -1 will give you the second last character. That's going to be my starting position, and then copy 2 characters from there. And then I had to use string concatenation. Remember, the plus operator concatenates strings, and I had to join the year. But in order to join the year is of data type integer. I needed to convert it from int to string. And then all I needed to display on a rich edit, the name of the restaurant, the year it opened, the name of the owner, and the identification code with headings. So if your sample output had headings, remember that your coding must also have headings. Let's run this and see how it works. Okay, so let's enter an owner's name. I'm going to enter just my name, full name, the name of the restaurant. Let's enter Petisco's, and the year it opened. Let's go with 2015. Okay, so it would have given you the name of the restaurant, the year it opened, the name of the owner, and the first character of the restaurant is a capital letter P. The last 2 characters of the owner's name is OO, small letter O and O, and then you're joining it to the year. Okay, so now let's go and have a look at the next question. So your next question, you had to enter the weight of the traveler's luggage. On the list box, you had to select an airline that the passenger is traveling. If the airline, for example, was SAA, that's South African Airways, the list box had to have a string that had the name or the acronym of the airline, followed by the hash symbol, followed by the maximum weight allowed by that particular airline. So in this example, SAA, the maximum weight was 23, but it had kg. So you had to use some string handling to extract the name of the airline, to extract the maximum weight out of this. Okay, so how you copy and where you copy is important, because I don't need the kg, I just need the maximum weight. Then the question required you to check, what is the excess weight? So if the maximum weight was 23 and the person was carrying 30, it means that they were 7 kgs overweight. And for every kg overweight, they would have paid 50 Rand per kg as cost for excess luggage. So let's look at how we calculated the cost. So question 1.2. Okay, so I created variables for the weight, for the maximum weight, for the excess, and for the cost. All of data type real, anything to do with currency, you would declare it as data type real. If you use double, that's wonderful too. The name of the airline, data type string, and then I needed to get the position of the hash. Okay, you needed to use some string handling to manipulate and copy parts of that string. Remember, you're getting a value from a list box. So you have to enter the weight using a t-edit. The name of the airline I'm getting from a list box. But remember, the name of the airline has a string value which joins the hash delimiter and then the weight. I want to find the position of the hash in S airline in this first at the index of the list box. Remember, list box is indexed starting at 0. From this first value, I want to find the position of the hash. So whatever you selected, whichever airline you selected on the list box, it doesn't necessarily have to be at index 0. It could, all depending on which airline the traveler or the person is traveling. Once I find the position of the hash, I then want to delete from the airline, start at position 1 and delete up until the position of the hash. So including the position of the hash, I want to delete the entire thing. So if I had, for example, if I had SAA hash and I had, for example, 23 kg. Okay, so find the position of the hash. It's going to find this position. Okay, it's going to find the position of the hash. It's going to tell me found at this particular position. Then I want to delete from that entire line stored in this variable called S airline. Start at position 1, which is the S. Start at position 1, which is the S. And delete up until the position of the hash. So it's going to delete this entire thing up until the position of the hash. So remember, when you delete, it just deletes from the same string. It changes the original string. So all that's left in the string is this value. After delete, all you left is with 23 kg. I then now can copy the 23 out of the string. Remember? So to get the maximum weight, to get the weight, the maximum weight of the airline, I'm going to copy from the variable called S airline. Start at position 1 now. Why I'm starting at position 1? Because I've already deleted this part. So the string now starts at position 1. And only give me the length of the airline. So length is actually here is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So length is going to be 4 in this example. I want to start copying from position. I only want how many characters is 2 characters. So the length of the airline -1 -2. So it's going to start, it's only going to give me 2 characters. So 4 minus 2 will give me 2, and that's your 2 characters. Then I now need to check what is the excess weight. So the weight that you enter via your t-edit, if it is greater than the maximum weight, then it means that you are in excess with your luggage. Then now you can calculate the excess weight. So the excess weight is equal to the baggage weight minus the weight, the maximum weight of the airline. Whatever your excess weight is, multiplied by the cost per kg. Now, how did I get the cost per kg? I created a constant variable. So just above my implementation section, a constant variable starts with CONST, which is a reserved word. I created a variable, and instead of using an assignment statement, I use the equals to sign. And the value that was supposed to be declared as a constant value was 50. So if ever I change, so if the airline decided, okay, the excess baggage per kilogram will now be 100, I only need to change the value once here, and then in my program, all changes will be made. So that's the advantage of creating a constant variable. Okay, so that is the variable that I'm multiplying it by, which is 50 Rand stored in this variable. It's a constant variable. And then all I did was display the excess weight. Remember, I'm using float to string F, FF fixed, and I'm displaying it to 2 decimal places. And then the cost, whatever the cost was, calculated from this line of code. The excess baggage in kilograms multiplied by the cost, which was 50 Rand. Let's run it and see how this program works. Okay, so if I entered a weight, for example, 30, and I chose SAA 23. So basically, the weight of my baggage was 30, but the maximum weight was 23. So I am 7 kgs overweight. So let's run it and see what happens. So my excess weight was 7, and 7 times 50 will give you 350 Rand. So let's look at another example where my weight was 20, and I still chose SAA 23. And what will happen with that? It won't charge me anything because I'm not in excess in terms of my luggage weight. So the last question you had was question 1.3, which had a little bit of character handling. Let's go and have a look at that question. Okay, so you had to enter a password, and you had to change the first character of the password to the next alphabetical character. So if the password started with the capital letter Z, it must then be converted to a capital letter A. If it was a capital letter A, it must be converted to a capital letter B, and so forth. So let's look at that particular question. So I created a variable called sPassword data type string. I got the password from a t-edit. If the first character of the password was a Z, then that first character must take on an A. Else, the first character must take on, remember, odd will take the character and give you a corresponding digit. So all it's doing, if it was a capital letter A, it gives you the ASCII equivalent of the capital letter A, and you add 1 to it. And that will give you, then it takes the corresponding value and it gives you the character equivalent to that value. And that is what I needed. I needed the character equivalent to the next value when I add 1. So I think a capital letter A starts off at 65. So all odd is going to do is going to take the capital letter A, give me the ordinal value, which is 65, plus 1 will give me 66, and then it gives me the character of the decimal value. And then that gets stored back into sPassword at the first character, which is at index 1. I then display the password encrypted onto a T-edit. Let's take a look and see how this works. So you had to go over characters, and you had to know the ASCII table, and you also had to know how does char work and how does odd work. Okay, so remember, char gives you the character of a digit, and odd gives you the digit of a character. Okay, or depending on the ASCII table. So let's go and run this and see how it works. Okay, so let's enter a password that I gave you, and I gave you PB #87 and a $sign. Okay, so all it's going to do is it's going to give you the alphabet P converted to the next letter of the alphabet, which is a Q. So all three exercises, all three questions was really, really simple, easy if you went through all the work on strings, especially learning pause and copy and delete and insert, also knowing how you use length. And then also if you went through the exercise on characters, learned how to use using CHR and using odd. This activity and coding challenge would have been very simple. But I hope you understand, for those of you that didn't get everything working and running and compiling, I hope you understand where your errors were. And if you tried and you got it wrong, I'm still excited and happy that you made the attempt. And for those of you that got all three questions to be working and getting sample outputs, that is fabulous, and I'm extremely proud of you. Well done. Stay inspired, stay motivated, and follow me on my next video.